weeks ago, we were in Texas and we went to the world's largest convenience store, Buc-ee's. You're going to see some video about that if you haven't already seen it. We came back home and we told some folks about it, and they said, you really ought to check out Wally's, which is a thing that we did in Fenton, Missouri, just in the south part of St. Louis. So we were on our way to another little adventure, and we stopped into Wally's to see what it was all about. The Wally's we visited is just off of Old Route 66, now Interstate 44 in Fenton, Missouri. Instead of a beaver for a mascot like Buc-ee's, Wally's has a bear. Wally's has a complete wall of prepackaged jerky, as well as a display case for you to order from an attendant. They also make fresh pizza on site. Wally's offers a line of pre-made sandwiches for your enjoyment. Pastries are also fresh baked on site. Unlike Buc-ee's, Wally's has a popcorn bar.
Bucket, and then he'll melt it in the microwave.
Okay.
And then it'll become liquid, and then I'll pour it over the top.
That's pretty cool. How long does it take it to dry up where you can handle it after it goes through that?
Not very long.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes we use so much of it, we have to use it so quickly that we can't even let it dry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's just amazing.
Mrs. Carnes and me really appreciate you watching our channel. If you haven't, please take a moment and subscribe. Thanks. While you can't park your RV in Wally's parking lot overnight, you can go inside and enjoy the sight of their vintage Winnebago.
This would be Andrew's favorite spot.
You can browse inside the store for various home goods or for Mrs. Carnes' favorite, bits and bobs. It's a cool store. It's a big store, but it's not a Buc-ee's. It's probably a third the size of what the Buc-ee's was. Probably has a third of the pumps. It only has 4 ice machines, 3 ice machines instead of 55 out front. So it's sort of, the concept is the same, but it's sort of like the junior varsity of ultra large convenience stores compared to what Buc-ee's is. They make pizza and baked goods inside. They make brisket and pulled pork sandwiches. Make their jerky here, but they don't really make any of the other products besides just those things. So Buc-ee's gets them on the fresh food part. Buc-ee's has probably 10 times the number of food items that you can order. But Mrs. Carnes likes it because they have a popcorn station inside of here, and I think she got herself some seasonal popcorn, which it was cheddar cheese, chive and onion, and sour cream. So we're gonna try that out a little bit later on. We're gonna go to the hotel, we're gonna eat the food that we picked up and let you know how it is. So we just finished up our dinner, I guess you could call it, that we picked up at Wally's a little while ago. As I sort of alluded to in the last video, Wally's does not nearly have the food options that Buc-ee's does. So they have already made sandwiches. They had brisket, either sliced or chopped. They had pulled pork, pulled chicken. There was I think a pastrami sandwich that was there. They were already made up. They had a big counter of beef jerky. They had some pizza that I thought I might get a piece of, but it looked like it had been out for a long time. It looked very dry. And a little bakery section. And so there was no counter to order sandwiches with, and they had chips that they had made rather than French fries. So we came in here and we ate, and I was very underwhelmed, honestly. We heated the sandwiches back up. We were only 10 minutes away from the store to get to the hotel, so it wasn't like we sat here for 3 hours and didn't eat them. But the flavor was kind of soft, honestly. They gave you a little tiny bit of sauce. They gave you some pickles and onions to add to it, so that actually made the sandwich better. The brisket was, I think, dry, and I don't know, it just wasn't really that good. When we came back from Texas after we went to Buc-ee's, I probably had 10 people say, "Oh, you mean like Wally's?" And so we came to check out Wally's and sort of compare it to Buc-ee's. And honestly, my first thought was that it was like the junior varsity to Buc-ee's, but in reality, Wally's is sort of like the freshman team to Buc-ee's. It's just not nearly as good. It's not as big. They don't nearly have the food options that they do, and I thought the quality and the taste of the food at Buc-ee's was much, much better. So I would probably give my overall food rating at Wally's about a 3.5 out of 10. I think they could have done better. Maybe if we got there and the food had been fresh, it might have made a difference, but it seemed like it had been out. I don't know. What do you think, Mrs. Carnes?
I wonder what you would have thought had we gone there first and hadn't visited Buc-ee's yet.
I
If
would
we'd
have
gone to Wally's first, I think we would have been like, wow, this is really cool.
It's a big store. They have home goods. They have T-shirts. The first store is in Pontiac, Illinois, which is at the top of Route 66. And this is in Eureka, Missouri, which is off 44, which is still on Route 66. It's on the Missouri section of where Route 66 was. And so it's a Route 66 themed store. Very big, impressive building. Very well done. Big high ceilings.
It had a Winnebago in the middle of
Had a
it.
Winnebago. It was a smaller Winnebago.
Yeah,
It
but
wasn't the big
still.
one. So it's a big size store, but in reality, it's about a third the size of what Buc-ee's was.
True.
And so they have about, I don't know, 20% of the food selections at Wally's compared to what they have at Buc-ee's. They have so many things, and I think they have those private label all their snacks.
Right.
These just look like they were sort of accumulated in more at Wally's. The only thing that was good about it, Mrs. Carnes, was what?
The popcorn.
They had a
popcorn
popcorn bar
bar.
that had about 6 different kinds
Oh, yeah.
of popcorn in it, and Mrs. Carnes does love herself. a
And
good
they
pop
they
kernel.
they pop the corn there, and they actually do all the coating of the corn there. And they were doing some, and let me watch while they were doing some cheese, nacho cheese flavored popcorn.
So my impressions were that it's okay. It's certainly there's nothing that I ate there that didn't taste like it was made in a gas station. Everything I ate at Buc-ee's tasted like it came from a restaurant.
Yeah.
The hot, fresh made French fries, other than the chips that were sitting out under the heat light, night and day,
I
completely
understand.
different.
All right.